live. Ooh, I hope that you are in a very precarious position. Yep, that's exactly what I was saying. In a very precarious position right now. Um, See, now this went live. Oh, almost. Oh, almost again. Not quite. This went live, but if I could hold this like this, it would be perfect. You know what? Ah! I'm trying. There we go. If I could just like hold this right there. And I put you right here. It's a little lopsided, but hey, if that's what it's got to be, then that's what it's got to be. But I can do one of these. And I can put this like this, maybe. Oh my gosh. Okay. Some coasters and a coaster holder works some magic. So I have internet now. This app was super easy. I'm not going to tell you who I went through because it was my only option. I mean, it was my only option if I wanted, like, I'll say a little quicker internet because there was decent internet, but not many options. Internet, I feel like in the States is not as, I've read that in other parts of the world, there's like more competition when it comes to like an internet service provider. So you can get pretty good packages for like, not too much money. But here, it seems that they kind of sort of like divvy up who can provide access to what area. So you pay a little money. Hey, Killua, how are you doing? But anyway, I got my internet today, and I had to do an internet live. Had to do a oh my gosh, I have internet live. So this is that oh my gosh, I have internet live. And I was gonna do it on my computer, but that desktop hasn't been updated since maybe 2020. Because that's the last time I used it. And then I started using my laptop. So it's been a minute. You're doing much better. I'm glad to hear it. I am very glad to hear that. I'm using. There we go. Did I do it? Did you do what I asked? Yes, you did. I'm using my phone because my computer is updating and I wanted to get this done. So I'm using the Astro Matrix Tarot today. I was going to reach for the Happy Tarot because now I got to shuffle like this. Let's see. I'd be like, I'm going to try to back this chair up. Ooh, there we go. I'm going to use the Astro Matrix Tarot. I was going to use the Happy Tarot, but when I reached into the box, this one caught my eye. And we'll see what's up. But yeah, it was like I hooked it up. They were like, you can download the app today so that when it arrives tomorrow, you'll already be logged into the app. Plugged in the coax, plugged it into the wall, went on the app. I plugged everything in, and it worked for me. So I thought I had my hair thing, but I guess I don't, which is fine. So, oh no, you're fine. You are completely fine. There are lives being lived all over the world. Okay. Astro Matrix. So yeah, I'm gonna use the Astro Matrix Tarot. We're just gonna see what's up, I guess. Ooh, Nine of Cups and the King of Wands. Let's see. Maybe I'll be real bold. I'll be real bold and I'll be real daring and I'll be real adventurous and we'll see what this new space. Maybe I can go like room by room. What is this new space like? Ooh, Ace of Pentacles with the Nine of Cups. Okay. What's like the first thing that you want to say since there's internet now? Just like this space, this place. I'm also drinking mead. because the bottle was opened a week ago ish, about a week ago. Um, and the cork's been in it, and I don't want it to, you know, get too comfortable being in the bottle and not in a tum tum. So I can smell the honey today. It is a little foggy outside, so I hope our northern neighbors are doing all right. Smoky. It rolled in after pictures yesterday. And then at about, well, I went outside at about like 11 ish, and I could smell like it was, oh, the world and the high priestess. It was, yeah, it was kind of sprinkling at the time, like raining a little bit. So I was like, I don't know if that's going to make things better or worse. Welcome back. It might be that I'm using my phone. They have all kind of features on here now. They were like, because now it's like you can either post, go live, or do whatever. And for a minute, they had a fourth option, which was like go live together. Now in the go live, it's like just listed. And I kept scrolling, and they were like, I think I can like stream my screen or something. Ooh, please. Four of Swords in reverse with the King of Pentacles upright and the Magician behind the King of Pentacles. And the Queen of Cups behind that Magician. Anyway. Four of Swords in reverse. There's a lot of restless energy here. I'm kidding. What was I talking about? The smoke. How it was kind of smelling a little bit. It rained. I didn't know if it would make it better or worse. Oh, yeah. There's like I think it was like a screencast. So you can like I could go live and share my phone screen. I'm not playing any mobile games, so I don't know why I would necessarily do that unless I don't know. Four of Swords in reverse. All right, let's clarify that. Because the King of Pentacles and the Magician was down at the bottom of the deck, um, Four of Swords in reverse can be like a time of rest that is over, like coming out of a rest period. Am I putting you back in the deck? No, we'll keep it. Queen of Swords at the bottom of the deck. We'll see. Oh, look, and he came right back out. King of Pentacles upright with the Magician still behind him. This time they fell out. So they were like, you should have kept me out the deck. I'm like, okay, you're out of the deck now. Now what's interesting is I'm looking at the orb because I don't remember. It makes me think of is it Vantcraft or something? I don't remember the name. But I'm looking at this behind the Magician, and then it's like there's a similar one above the head of the King of Pentacles, which is interesting. The King of Pentacles and the Magician. The King of Pentacles can be a Magician energy just because Earth for me is an element where all of the other three come together, and that's what like leads Earth to thrive. Earth depends on the sun and the wind and the rain, basically. So you have your fire, your water, and your air to make a thriving Earth. And then the Magician is the one that utilizes all elements. Now, the Magician is utilizing the element of, or he's holding up the wand, which establishes, it's almost like it's making me think of if you have a capacitor in a circuit. As energy runs through the circuit, the capacitor holds on to that energy. The capacitor stores a certain amount of energy, so that if the circuit is broken, then it can like release its energy to power the circuit for as long as it can. If you disconnect it from power, it can still function. And I say that because it's like the wand is powering up this machine, but once it receives enough power, it's like if the wand were to be dropped, then you can see the other needle behind, right there, behind the wand. Once it's powered up enough, then this can sort of like sustain its own without the wand needing to be raised. And then you see those arcs of lightning connecting, on the other hand, to the pinnacle, the sword, and the cup. It's interesting that the cups haven't made an appearance yet. This is the Queen of Cups. Did I say the Queen of Swords? Well, maybe the Queen of Swords was at the bottom before. And the Queen of Cups is right there. So, Queen of Cups, King of Pentacles, the Magician. There's the King of Wands, Three of Wands. Who are you? The Ace of Cups. So, Queen of Cups, Three of Wands, Ace of Cups, King of Wands. And then the King of Swords is right behind that King of Wands. I'm missing fire, too. Well, Three of Wands, Ace of Cups, King of Wands. So air is the only one that isn't coming out with the court energy. Oops. These two come out together. Oh, well, then there's the King of Swords right after that King of Wands. So there's the court energy for this one. It's interesting. I would say that fire, more so than air especially, has been the one element that's been like debilitated in my chart for most of my life. And I do personally have a grand fire trine, but in that trine, two of the participants are my Chiron and my North Node. And then in air, I have Saturn, Jupiter, and my South Node. And my fire trine is pretty tight. My air trine is, I'm trying to think where because my North Node is there. So my air trine is tight-ish, but Saturn breaks it. Like Saturn gets a little far from Jupiter. And so the Saturn Jupiter is weaker, but it's like there within a 10-degree orb. But because that's so tight, it's like my fire trine also like sextiles my air trine. Again, with Saturn being the point that's a little far, but it still fits. We're looking to see, well, I'm looking to see how all the elements come together. And the first one was this Four of Swords in reverse, which is not surprising because it's required so much. It's required a lot of effort to get here, but not necessarily effort in the ways that I would have necessarily expected for me to exert effort. Everything was so like synchronicitous and like just happened. But there was a lot of work on the back end that basically went towards making sure that I'd be able to be comfortable enough to be like, yeah, I'll take it. Queen of Wands at the cut now. So, I didn't even put the Four of Swords back. Basically, it's like this is the beginning. This place is the beginning of action. It's the birthplace. And then there's the Nine of Cups again. I saw the Nine of Cups at the cut with the Six of Wands behind it. Thank you. So that's what this place is for me. This is the place where I hop into action, I come out of inaction, and I put some of the final pieces on the board. Not necessarily put them on the board, but like put them into the game. I guess it's almost like playing a game of chess, but only moving pawns. Like never moving anything out of that last row. Almost. I don't really know chess that well, so, you know. There really isn't much meat in here. I don't eat food. Okay, so I'm not going to be on here too long because I actually do want to. Well, first of all, my phone isn't fully charged. And there's an outlet. I thought there was one like behind me. There's one like all the way over there. That's not going to happen. But then I can go and restart my computer. I'm going to make sure that that's ready. So, place. What's the first thing? I'm not going to take this, but we're going to look at it because it made noise. Ooh, 2 of Cups. And what? Okay. With the 9 of Pentacles at the bottom of the deck. What's the first thing I guess you want to say? Ooh, that's a lot. To the people, to the collective. Bottom of the deck is Judgment. So I guess that reading the other day was probably accurate. Well, I mean, we'll see. Hopefully not. And there's the me. Goodbye. The cards that came out: 9 of Wands, 3 of Cups, 5 of Wands, 10 of Cups, Queen of Swords. Fire, water, air. There's a 9 and 3. 9 is, 3 times 3. There's the 5 and the 10. 5, which is half of the 10. And then there's the singular Queen of Swords. Bottom of the deck is Judgment. The only card, there are 2 cards that are not in daytime, and it's the bottom of the deck, Judgment, and it's this 3 of Cups. Everything else is occurring like in the daytime. Now, what's interesting is there are 5 of Wands cards where the 5 Wands are placed in a way that creates a pentacle or a pentagram, but more so a pentacle. Now, in this one, they don't. Excuse me. So it's like there's almost an ace. There's an Ace of Pentacles energy that's coming together in this 5 of Wands. But it's like these 4 are positioned, and this guy is trying to come in and complete the star, basically, because they're do. So it needs that one, right? Yeah, because if it goes right there or somewhere in there, that line will create these 2 points on either side. So 1 wand creates 2 points on that 5-pointed star. But he's going to have to, from that way, he's probably going to have to, go over and, stick it down in there. You know what I mean? Because of how he's positioned. But when that Ace of Pentacles comes together, then it feels like, boom, the cups align and you get 10 cups. So with the 9 of Wands and the 3 of Cups, maybe it's an energy of it doesn't necessarily, I'm not going to say it doesn't necessarily make things any easier, because sometimes just having another body or another person there does. For the one who thinks he fights alone, now there's community. Now there are those who he can relate to. Again, the task is going to, I don't want to say task. But there's an opportunity for this Five of Wands to actually come together harmoniously to create an Ace of Pentacles energy and to invite, usher in this Ten of Cups, which, the Ten of Cups isn't too surprising if there's this Three of Wands that's going to meet this Nine. Or if there's this Three of Cups that's going to meet this Nine of Wands. I think too, sometimes the Five of Wands could just be like a lot of different opinions and perspectives and ideas. It's a lot of excited people who all sort of like want to be doing their own thing. And so in their excitement, they kind of like don't listen to each other. And then it becomes a competition. That's one of the ways to read it, right? And then the one that stands alone is this Queen of Swords, and it actually feels like the presence of this Queen of Swords with the seagull in the top. Y'all know I love the seagull. The presence of this Queen of Swords actually clears away a fog. The clearing away of that fog. It's interesting that it comes after this Five of Wands, Ten of Cups, because it feels like that energy would actually make it easier to see in this Five of Wands, but for whatever reason, it comes out after. And then there's judgment there. Judgment being this phoenix is a rebirth, but it's a rebirth of many. It's the rebirth of, again, like a community of people, or many people, because there are many skulls connected to that one phoenix. Okay. Anyway. 9, 3, 5, 10, and the Queen. Again, there's no Earth here. But maybe that makes sense because it's on fire. And under this judgment is the Knight of Swords, who's like making his way through the fog to the Hermit. And behind the Hermit is that Queen of Wands again. So there we go. I'll get a few cards for what does the collective need to know from me? What can I do to help benefit what cards will help benefit the collective at this point? I mean, I don't necessarily, I'll let the cards speak. Something else the collective would need, or was that Adam? Is that Adam Lambert? That's like, what do you want from me? Did y'all see that Pat Sajak is retiring from the Wheel of Fortune and Ryan Seacrest is taking over? I saw it when I was at the gym the other day with my aunt. I was like, what? She was like, yeah, Pat Sajak's retiring. Well, Bob Barker, who Drew Carey. I was going to say Drew, not Barrymore. Drew Carey took over for Bob Barker, and then he was on Whose Line Is It Anyway? Maybe that was before anyway. All right, Astral Matrix for the collective. Oh, well, it's the card that has continuously been. This card has been the most prominently featured, the most reoccurring, the most symbolic for at least the past week and a half to 2 weeks. It's the Ten of Wands. I'm going to see it flipped over face down. I'm going to see what's before it and what's after it. But yeah, that gosh darn 10 of Wands is out again. Bottom of the deck is the Queen of Cups. I'm trying to look and see what's going on in this Queen of Cups. It almost looks like the crab is presenting her a fish, and then there's the Ace of Pentacles under the Queen of Cups anyway. It almost looks like the crab is presenting her a fish. Maybe, I don't know if you're going to focus on this, please. Almost. You see that? I don't know what's happening there. But if the crab is presenting a fish, it's interesting because the Page of Cups has a fish in their cup. And so I don't know if it's like when it's could be one of those, like when the Page of Cups was a child, the fish was in the cup. But when they got older, at some point, the fish jumped out of the cup. So now the crab is helping to retrieve that fish so that it can go back to its home, which is in the cup. Um, it might even be like an offspring of that fish. It could be a child of the fish. The fish went out into the great blue sea and had more fish babies, and this is one of its babies. I don't know. But crab came out. I kept seeing the crab. I think it was the time I was live before the most previous one. And it was in the moon card. I think I was using the vice versa tarot. Maybe. What does crab mean to me? I guess it could be Cancer, but what's in Cancer? The sun. Cancer season. I'm like, what's the? I was like, I feel like something just transited into Cancer. What is it? The sun. Um, Now we're about to have a full moon because we're in full moon first. Full moon first, new moon right before the season closes. Um, and so I don't know. I guess if the sun is the one that is the crab, then it's highlighting and illuminating certain things. It's interesting though because Cancer has been coming out lately, or the last time I read through all the zodiacs at a hotel, I believe it's when I went to a buddy's wedding last year. Um, and I was using the Lafruma to do all signs. I think that's where it started. It might have been after or before that. But Cancer had an energy of like they were migrating from one shell into the other, and they got locked out of both. And so Cancer can't go into their shell, but it's teaching Cancer to like acclimate to the environment, maybe, or something like that. Um, because it's like as Cancer is exposed to air, its skin like it oxidizes, but it becomes like a barrier for Cancer so that Cancer doesn't need the shell. It's basically like Cancer oxidizing in the air is giving it the ability to grow an exoskeleton or to it's like grow a backbone because it's like without the shell then they're a pile of mush, but with the shell they get like some kind of shape and form. um but anyway, it's Cancer's in a new energy where it's not as in its shell or whatever for a reason. Now that I guess because again the Ten of Wands is the card that flipped over for the last thing that we're telling the collective, which is what we've been talking about for the past however long. Maybe this could symbolize like the emotional, I don't want to say emotional burden. Maybe it could just symbolize the challenge in reintegrating into society and being vulnerable and letting people see you as you are without all of those defense mechanisms. Maybe it's difficulty in coping or living life without a crap ton of defense mechanisms and trauma responses and other things. So the Ten of Wands is heading towards the Magician, and it is heading away from the Three of Pentacles. So it's moving from a cooperative energy to an energy of like, I can do it all by myself. But it feels like it's moving from an energy of dependence on one thing to a confidence in oneself. And maybe it's like with that shell Cancer, again, it's just like it's not a coping mechanism. It's a, what do they call it? Like it's a protective evolutionary thing. Like there's a word for it. That's not coping mechanism. It's like camouflage and shells and quills for porcupines. Um, But it's like Cancer had gotten so used to, not Cancer because this is for the collective, but it specifically came up in the energy of Cancer, and the crab is hot here lately. I was even at Planet Fitness, and like I said, we were watching Deadliest Catch, and the crabs were just, well, when I talked about it yesterday, it was the guy that had the rock, or he had the thing that said hope floats, and he threw it out the thing and said that thing sinks like a rock. The trick is to put your hope in the right things because those things will float. Um, but they were catching crabs. It was like two different episodes of Deadliest Catch, and it was all about people catching, apparently making like millions of dollars off of the crabs that they catch because people like crab. Um, but yeah, with those protective defensive mechanisms, it's like Cancerian energy, or just everybody. We got used to operating in a certain way, or it's like our roles were more defined. Because it's like, okay, well, if I'm not going to do this, if I'm not going to say that, if I'm going to keep people at arm's length, if I'm going to subscribe to this thing that has me sort of like barbed a little bit without that vulnerability, I know what to expect. I don't let people get me closer or blah 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 whatever. But without that, now it's this like, maybe it can be like an additional empathic burden or burnout because, and y'all know, we've been in this period of integration for however long we've been in this period of integration where it was like, in 2020, everyone was sort of like in their own world, but now we're all coming together again or whatever. And I don't say that to be flippant, but so maybe it's part of the burden of that, and maybe it could be justice. Oof. It could be easier to um, almost sort of give into it. I mean, it'd be real easy to like try to go back and force oneself into the previous shell that was too small or the shell that is bigger that Cancer had their eye on when they left one and went for the other. Um, but the Ten of Wands lately has been coming out as like responsibility. What's interesting about this is I think this came out last time, and because Justice is here, the Ten of Wands and the Ace of Wands are numerologically the same. They're both one. And it is this Ace of Wands that again powers this machine that stands behind the Magician. So, I don't know, there's something in here that's kind of DIY. And it's not that we have to do everything by ourselves, but it's not to be overly reliant on others to do the things that we can do for ourselves. It's just going to be an adjustment period. Um, the Queen of Cups leading and Justice ending is interesting because that feels like a knowing that it's all going to work out in the end, that everything's going to be fine. Um, or it feels like a knowing of like what needs to happen will happen. It's also interesting that these, not roses, to the right of the Queen of Cups and to her left, they're also in the vase on the table next to the Magician. Let's see, how do I do that? Like that. You see that? They're also in that vase. Um, Now, if I knew what that flower meant, I could tell you, but if you know what that flower means, then take it as it resonates. It does feel like moving into the future, though. So, yeah, I'm just going to end this there because that's a whole nother tangent that this could go on. And then again, the Ace of Pentacles is at the bottom of the deck. So it is almost, and then the High Priestess is behind that Ace of Pentacles. Love that. Page of Swords is behind the High Priestess. We'll take her too. Page of Swords looking at the Empress. Empress looking at the Page of Swords. This feels like this. The Queen of Cups, pre-High Priestess, intuitive queen, with justice sort of like looming into her vision, feels like the Ace of Pentacles with the High Priestess. But again, it's like sometimes when we receive a vision, we don't necessarily receive how it comes about. We don't necessarily foresee all of the hard work and frustration and tears and the ups and the downs, the celebrations, the achievements. Sometimes we see more of an end, sometimes more of the end product, sometimes a later step in the process, sometimes a milestone that comes at the end of some kind of achievement, and then their strength. But we don't necessarily see, again, everything that we have to do to get there. But sometimes we know, and if we can be honest with ourselves, it's like we know where we are, and we know we can get an idea of where we need to be or where we would be if that were to be our lives, right? Like if you're afraid of, I want to say like fish. If you're afraid of fish, but you see yourself in the future living in one of those ocean houses, it's probably not too big of a leap to assume or to surmise that at some point you're going to get over your fear of fish, or else like you wouldn't see yourself there as happily as you do. You know what I mean? So it's like it's kind of there, but not at the same time necessarily. So no, way too many. We're just gonna flip those right back. Final card, one card. Thank you. Who is it? The Fool in reverse. Bottom of the deck is the King of Cups upright with the Nine of Cups behind that King of Cups. Fool in reverse, I guess it would be like, don't be too hasty. The Fool in reverse is like, stick something out. Take it as it resonates. But that's feeling more so like if we don't immediately see whatever it is that we assume is going to be waiting for us, then we're like, oh, this ain't it. Oh, that ain't it. Boom, over, done, done, done. Always, again, use your intuition and discernment. If your intuition and discernment is telling you that it's not it, then, do whatever you need to do. But sometimes it can be our impatience, or sometimes it can be our trepidation, it can be our fear, it can be a whole bunch of other things that get us to move before it's necessarily our time to move. And in doing so, we might miss an opportunity in the moment, and we may create in that this like alternate pathway, maybe to wrap back around to the same opportunity, maybe to go somewhere else. With the King of Cups upright, it's honestly reading as and this King of Cups read like this recently too, where the King of Cups is just as intuitive as the Queen of Cups, but there's an understanding that the King of Cups has, because the King of Cups is the one that faces the world. The Queen of Cups is the one that faces self. And so it's like, as one faces the world, then it's like, okay, well, how is my vision going to come to life? Or how is that going to play out, like, as things are happening? Rather than the Queen of Cups almost being more of like, who do I need to be? What do I need to do? More like it's more self centric in the Queen of Cups. Um, but yeah, with that King of Cups, I don't know, he's reading us a lot more patient and a lot more understanding, and not more intuitive, but more aware of the world around him, maybe. And it just feels like he's able to grasp the subtleties. Like maybe things don't change everything everywhere all at once, but like the King of Cups is the one who would notice the sprout of the seed, and he would see that and take it as, okay, the world is healing. things are moving, things are progressing. There are these subtle changes that validate that thing that I see. Again, because he's the one that faces the world. Um, I don't remember. Oh, it was the fool in reverse. So then, yeah, then he would be like, okay, what? Since I see this, since I know that, let me not be too hasty. Let me not jump the gun. Let me wait and see how this plays out. And then it feels like that King of Cups energy slides more into the Suit of Pentacles, but in a way of like nurturing and caring. Then that King of Cups can assist in something moving in a certain direction rather than, because it feels like the Queen of Cups would just be too eager in all of her loving kindness to just basically like do something for somebody, or to not, or to like almost enable, to enable somebody, or to just like do everything for them to the point where they don't learn for themselves. Whereas that King of Cups is like, well, let me assist you in your learning, because it's, it's important for us to know how to be not self-sufficient, um, but it's important for us to know what it is that we're capable of, you know because then again we have a better idea of what we contribute to the lives of other people, to our own lives, and to the progression of many things. And then we also know where it is for us to reach out to someone else to have them help us do the things that we can't do, because we're probably not going to be the best at everything unless you want to be completely self-sufficient. Then in that case, use your intuition, guides, discernment, knowledge, and wisdom, because it's honestly feeling like, even though that Three of Pentacles, even though like the Ten of Wands was moving away from the Three of Pentacles and towards the Magician, again, it's like that's contributing the thing that one is capable of contributing, rather than relying on other people to sort of like make up the difference. Anyway, I hope you all have an amazing whenever you see this. I hope you're all acting in alignment to make all that you wish to experience your reality. Thank you, Kira, for being here with me, and I'm glad to hear that the situation improved, and I hope that it keeps on doing so. And to that end, I will catch you all the next time I catch you, which might be tomorrow, might not be. I got a long weekend, and I kind of want to do something. So we'll see.